Man, so we got set up for the big 1-2 punch, right? And the punch number one was this Killer Instinct thing, right? The fact that it wasn't really anything. It was an update to, I need to point at it again, that arcade 1-up cabinet. And then the right hook, right? That was the left jab. And then the right hook came through, and Ed Boon, as we all know him, the deliverer of trolly nonsense and sometimes huge incriminating information, that all of a sudden just it led to the situation that we're in right now, where there is possibly no new NRS game. He also lies, though. Yeah, but you have to understand the situation. What does he get out of lying? I feel like this is actually the third. Is this the third Game Awards that we've been hoping? I think it kind of is, right? Because the initial cycle, right, where we thought they were going to stick to the cycle, the 2-year cycle of NRS games. It's been 4 years since the last announcement, but I think this is technically the third Game Awards where we're showing up and hoping that there's going to be a new NRS game announcement. And it technically is, which is crazy. 3 Game Awards in now, we have a... we have an idea that, according to Mr. Ed Boon himself, which is apparently posting a picture of a man punching a kangaroo. A lot of people are like, he's trolling, right? He's lying. 4 years ago at the Game Awards, we managed to pull off the surprise announcement with MK11, which turned out great, perhaps too great. As many assumed you would repeat that trick for the next game. Thank you for the anticipation, but we're not ready to announce the next NRS game. I feel like we are just reliving 2021 all over again. Like, no kidding. And it's mostly like, here's the interesting thing, chat. The tried and true methodology of the industry has been relatively sound for like 10 years as far as when things are going to be releasing, how they're going to be releasing, right? For a very large majority of the big fighting game publishers. That's kind of the way it's going. Something big happened over the past couple of years that threw everything asunder. And now we've seen the impact of that sort of taking place on a variety of games, including, you know, games like Street Fighter that are seemingly not coming out in the time frame we thought they were. And now is the same thing for NRS, where they said that their release window and release structure has been completely screwed up. And I think we could sort of, you know, assume that this is pandemic related. This is probably all down to early development of these games being severely stifled by pandemic stuff early on. The interesting thing to note is the take of that he's lying or he's trolling does NRS or WB games absolutely no good. In fact, there was several tweets from Ed earlier. He said he wasn't going to be a presenter this year. He said he wasn't presenting. So it meant that, oh, maybe they'll have a trailer. Maybe he's like, you know, maybe they're just going to have a trailer and a big reveal or something like that. But he was still talking about their next game. He had like a whole bunch of Q&A where specifically he was going all about, like, pretty good idea. Their next game's going to be Mortal Kombat 12, you know? It seems like they were going to get a new MK game since we've been waiting so long. In this situation, there's no reason to outright lie, and there's no reason to troll here, because you want to get as many eyes and ears on your event as possible. I don't think it's going to be at the Game Awards. I would love to be wrong at this, man. And to be frank, when I was making those gift sub bets, when it came to Game Awards presentation announcements, I thought, to be very honest, the next NRS game, it was one of the highest likelihoods. It was like a 90% chance we were going to see this because it's been so many years. And now it's been an aggressive amount of years. Seeing this 4 years ago, we managed to announce and pull off a surprise of the announcement of MK11. It's been 4 years, half a decade in between NRS games practically. And that's nuts. I mean, now it's like 4 years since the previous game's announcement. Now, like, no kidding, we could possibly be, by the next time another NRS game comes out, literally half a decade. So all I have to say is that I have huge sympathy for, like, Super, Ketchup and Mustard, all of the big NRS content creators, much less, you know, competitors and stuff like that have either been done with Mortal Kombat 11 for a very long time or have wanted to move on to a new game because they're just used to that stuff. Uncaged Games, like, all of these guys, man, like, this stuff was essentially created livelihoods for a lot of people. And I feel really bad for them, man. Like, content creators need new content. Like, I feel like even me, we've got like Guilty Gear Strive, and I like DNF Duel, but even KOF 15 I enjoy. But even for somebody like me, there's been some heavy lifting over the past couple of years, because there's been no new NRS games, there's been no new Capcom games, there's been like no new Tekken games, there's been updates and marginal updates to those things. It's just been a very rough few years of this pandemic for a lot of content creation in general. It's been kind of slow for fighting games in general, with some notable efforts. So this is being felt, right? I would just like to say this is definitely being felt as somebody that like actively has been making content around this stuff for like 14 years and streaming it for, Jesus, did we just pass 9 years? Yeah, dude, I've been feeling like the big scale ass fighting games I've really not been dropping. And I'm gonna assume it's mostly been down to pandemic stuff. What could be happening? I mean, because still, even 4 years is a long time, even considering the pandemic issues, right? I'm still sort of like reeling what could be taking place that's making this take so long. And maybe there's just something, right? Maybe there's just something internally. Maybe they're switching engines and it's causing a lot of problems. Maybe there is, maybe they're just like, you know, it's a very high concept game with a lot of weird shit in it, and they want to be ready for it. There was also Discovery merger stuff, but that hasn't mostly affected WB Games. There's a lot of things that could be happening that I'm just like, it's hard to say what was the thing that essentially stopped it outside of pandemic stuff. They could be doing something super ambitious. They honestly could. I feel like if there's a thing that I want to know more than anything about the next NRS game, be it Mortal Kombat 11, Injustice 3, whatever, is mostly gameplay stuff. Like, there's usually answers in a lot of fighting games nowadays to the previous fighting games, either like solving things that happen in response to what happened in previous games and trying to come up with something new and fun, or coming up with something completely new. I'm really curious what they're going to do, because MK11, you know, while it was one of the best-selling games, absolutely, they kind of have a choice to make whether or not they stick with the old speedy version of the game, this picking moves and stuff like that, which I don't think they already said they don't want to do that, where they're going to go gameplay-wise with their next game. And that's what I'm actually most curious about. I've said this time and time again. I am not worried about MK12 or whatever the heck NRS is working on. I'm not worried about it looking amazing. I'm not worried about it having a ton of content. I'm not really worried about the online of it. All that stuff is going to be great. I'm not worried about its sales. The game is probably also going to sell incredibly as well. It's the gameplay that I'm the most curious about. I just want to see, what is their next game going to play like? I would love NRS to create another game that I love just as much as Mortal Kombat X. And I feel like I've been waiting for that since Injustice 2, you know? I'm a little like anxious for this whole situation, but I feel like now, kind of at the point where after 2 years of these Game Awards announcements, it's just like, it's time to let go, you know? Like, I feel like I was getting excited once again, and it might be another situation. I don't know when these guys are going to announce this thing, because now all the things that I've understood about the industry and where they're going to be possibly going with stuff is pretty much out the window, man. Like, what they're going to be doing, is it even going to be Mortal Kombat 12? That could have been a misdirect. Like, I don't know. It could be something super exciting and crazy that just gets announced during a PlayStation Experience event or something, or, you know, they're going to wait till E3 or maybe even Game Awards next year. It's brutal, but there is good news, right? This is bad news. It's rough to have Ed just come out and say, we're not showing up at the Game Awards again, because this is like, I just say, especially for people like me and Kenny, this was one of the things that were like, bro, it's happening. Like, I'm going to grab my friend's arms with excitement, and we're going to shake each other that we're going to get a new like NRS / Mortal Kombat game or something that we might love just as much as some previous NRS games. It's like, damn, it might happen. And now at least Ed is giving us this outright, like, don't hold on to that, right? Do not hold on to the fact that we are going to be doing this. They're just straight out coming out and admitting it. The bad news of the whole situation, it's just not happening. Once again, I appreciate the transparency. I'm not mad at Ed. I'm not mad at any of these guys. I just want to see what they're working on, man. I'm just excited to share that excitement with everybody else, and to be, you know, happy about all of that. You know, I'm just sort of looking forward to all of that. The good news is that, I mean, and I have a t-shirt and a promotional thing of some kind. I'll have to go find it. That Tekken confirmed that there is going to be Tekken stuff there. So that's good news. The other good news about this whole situation is seemingly that the very jam-packed, presumptual 2023 might not be as brutally jam-packed as we thought it was going to be. And that is good news. It's getting fighting games a chance to breathe. In fact, there is a small chance that even Street Fighter 6 getting the sort of release window that it was sort of getting, that we think it's going to have, somewhere between like, you know, maybe this summer, anywhere between like April to fall is where I think it's going to drop. That happening the way it is could possibly mean that NRS was like aware of that. And they're like, yeah, we'll just spend some more time on polish, right? And maybe it just comes out a bit later. Maybe they just don't announce like another game to compete with these other fighting games, because once again, it's pretty obvious that fighting games cannibalizing each other doesn't work out. It doesn't work out well for one side of the industry, much less the other, like the American side or even the Japanese side or other sides, right? It just doesn't. I think Ed and even, you know, NRS marketing and WB probably know that. And there's already a lot of competition lining up in 2023. Like Tekken could be dropping in 2023. Friggin' Street Fighter 6 is obviously dropping in 2023. Project L, wherever the hell that is, it's seemingly like that is about to be a crazy year. But right now, the only solidarity we have in 2023 is a Street Fighter game, because Tekken is still in the air. Project L is still a mystery, and NRS's game is now MIA once again. And that is not the situation I thought we would be in, as we're about to cross the year of our Lord 2023, dude. Like, holy hell.